So, like any other well-adjusted young man on the internet, my favorite pastime is potentially wasting all of my money. My favorite way of doing this is looking through eBay, finding the sketchiest looking posts, and wondering whether or not they're profitable. That is what spawned this series and leads us to today, where we check out this sketchy post. So upon receiving the package I had high hopes. It appears that the UPS driver refrained from drop kicking it to my door, and it arrived relatively intact. But there is evidence of the package being retaped multiple times, which gives it an aura of mystery. Finally getting the computer out of the box, I was met with something that is a rare sight on eBay. Something that looked completely new. But at this point I imagine the majority of you are asking what I bought and why. So let's hop back to the ad so I can show you how I decipher my eBay purchases. If you take a closer look at the first picture on the ad, you will see that they are a collector of cardboard boxes. I too am a connoisseur of those corrugated pieces of art, so I already feel connected to the person taking this picture. Looking even closer, you might notice the temporary plastic disgusting table they use to take their pictures on. This signifies that they are busy, professional people that simply do not have time to set the computer on a table or a clean surface. But all joking aside, let me go over a few things that I actually look for in posts like these, so that you don't end up catching some very strange foreign disease from a sketchy eBay listing. The first obvious thing that one might look at on a post like this is the seller rating. You might think that the seller with the most sales or the most positive feedback is always going to be the safer option or the best choice. But there's a bit more nuance to it than that. There are a lot of private sellers or Jim Bob who's trying to get rid of his computer that his brother gave him that's using eBay for the first time. You can go with even sketchier posts like that, but I would imagine you can't expect a lot of feedback, customer support, or any sort of returns from those, so you're really going out on a limb with those type of posts. In our case for this post, it's clear that we're buying from a reputable brand. I obviously don't know the details of them, but having a good amount of positive feedback and also having some sort of system in place or a standard layout for the things that they are selling is more or less usually a thumbs up in the I don't want to get scammed department. But what actually caught my eye for this post? One thing that I noticed is it reeked of the familiar scent of someone buying a pre-built computer and ripping the graphics card out of it, though it was a little bit peculiar because it was being sold by some sort of, I guess, business or place versus some private seller who had bought it and was looking to flip it for cash. So it was very odd that it had been returned to some sort of facility and now was being resold again. Someone explained in the title, but confirmed in the 3 pictures that were provided, we are buying a motherboard, a power supply, an SSD, and the case. The thing that we are betting on is if all 4 of those things work and are of mediocre quality or better, then we are going to be walking away as a profitable venture by buying this post. So as I somewhat guessed, it does appear that this was just a Asus pre-built system that they sold to a customer and then they ripped out literally everything important and then returned it back to Asus. I don't know exactly the legality of that or what happened or if it was a full return or whatever, but there is no dust anywhere. There's still the peel on the glass. The PCIe cable is just laying there like it just got ripped out of a graphics card. So I am pretty confident that everything in here is going to work. Unless they somehow did some sort of system where they shipped it out to a customer, there was a problem, they shipped it back, and instead of diagnosing the issue, they just took out the core components and then figured out that one of these was the issue. My biggest fear is the motherboard isn't working at this point. That would be a rather small setback, but a setback indeed. But if everything does work in this, it looks like there's RGB fans and an RGB controller and the power supply and everything else, this would be a really nice catch for an eBay roulette. So I was going to take everything out and attempt each part individually, but I'm really tempted just to slap a CPU in there and see how it goes. If that's the case, then it'd be a lot easier than ripping everything out and everything's kind of already cable managed. So I'm going to steal a 3600 from the motherboard next to me, throw it in there, throw in a little stock cooler action, and just give it a try. I guess we'll also have to throw in a cheap graphics card to get a display out. So let's get to that. Okay, CPU's in, RAM's in. We got to throw in our cheap little RX 560 here just to give the computer some sort of display out. And then we'll have the final moment of if this was all worth it or not. All right, cross your fingers. Okay, CPU's spinning, GPU's spinning. We do have some LEDs in the front. It might power cycle, that's fine. Okay, second turn. Everything should be plugged in, yeah. No way. Nope. Yes. Yes? Yes! Wow! Holy crap, no way. That is the easiest buy ever. That is fantastic. Hell yeah. Wow. That's incredible. Make sure everything's showing up properly. Yep, there's our 3600, the 8 gigs of RAM we have thrown in there, the SSD. Wow. Is there any like horrible bloatware? Not really. Wow. That is amazing. Well, it looks like the first little sketchy eBay purchase for this series really paid off. I'm imagining all these fans work. I just, again, have them unplugged, and it looks like it has a built-in RGB controller, which is incredibly useful. So I'll have to do a bit more thorough testing. This little preemptive test is just to make sure it gets into the actual Windows or BIOS or whatever have you. Now what I'll probably have to do is make sure, all the RAM slots work, the audio and the front I/O and the back I/O all work, because that's one thing you might run into that you forget to check or forget to double check and then sell it on to somebody and they're like, my motherboard doesn't work or something of that sort. But again, this is looking incredibly profitable. I guess I should look at the numbers, kind of go over that a little bit, and do a rough estimation of potentially how much money I got out of this. Having initially spent $160 US including shipping to get this to me, we are coming out with a Gigabyte B450 Wi-Fi motherboard that's roughly around $70, the 500 gigabyte Intel SSD which is around $40, the Thermaltake 600 watt power supply which is around $30, and the Asus Tough case which I valued at around $80. Considering it's a full case with RGB fans and a controller installed, it's a rather nice steal. So overall we are walking away with about $220 worth of value from this $160 purchase. But that will bring us to the end of today's video. If you want to see me potentially waste more money on eBay, hit that like button. If you thought this was a waste of your time, hit that dislike button. If you want to check out my other channels or our community Discord, links will be down in the description below. But without further ado, have a good day, guys.